Dear friends, it is a great privilege to welcome back Rabbi Dr. Dalia Marx, the Rabbi Aaron Pankin Professor of Liturgy and Midrash at the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion on its Toby family campus in Jerusalem. Dr. Marx is a 10th generation Jerusalemite. She earned her doctorate at the Hebrew University there and her ordination at HUC-JIR. She teaches throughout Israel and Europe, and of great significance to us, she's very active in promoting the cause of liberal Judaism in Israel. Dr. Marx writes for academic and popular journals and publications. She was the lead editor of the Israeli Reform Siddur, Tfilat HaAdam. She's the author of When I Sleep and When I Wake, on prayers between dusk and dawn, a feminist commentary of the Babylonian Talmud, and from time to time, Journeys in the Jewish Calendar, which has been translated into multiple languages. And this morning, we will draw on her expertise on the holiday cycle, as her theme will be, It's a Matter of Time, Sukkot and Its Secrets. And I would add that it is particularly meaningful to have Dr. Marx with us this morning in the days leading up to Simchat Torah, because she was last here the evening of October 6th, 2023, which, as you will recall, was Erev Simchat Torah and the night before the most horrific tragedy of October 7th. Every day we pray for brighter tomorrows. May your visit with us, Dalia, and your teaching usher in a year better than the last, when the hostages are returned home and Israel knows peace. Friends, please welcome Rabbi Dr. Dalia Marx.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Happy Sukkot. As Rabbi Davidson mentioned, this is to me a special honor and also distinguished emotional moment for me to stand with you as I stand in this very place just a few hours before the horrific massacre of October 7th. And may it be that we begin now a new cycle, a cycle of peace and a cycle of return to all those who need to be returned home. And thinking about home, I think Sukkot invites us more than probably any other Jewish festival to contemplate and to think about bayit, about what does it mean to have a bayit, to own a bayit, to be at home. So, we called Sukkot Zman Simchatenu, the time of our rejoicement, the time of our joy. Sukkot, in our tradition, is supposed to be the most joyous Chag, the most joyous of all occasions. And it is one of the consolations that I find that the festivals do come and do return to us every year anew, no matter what are our circumstances and what our personal and communal, national, global circumstances. We will always have Sukkot. We will always have Simchat Torah. These festivals always come back and back, again and again. But we are different. Every year we approach the festivals with new eyes, with fresh eyes. Every year we look at the values and the core texts of our Chagim, and we compare them to our situation now. So today, when I think about Sukkot, which invites us, as Rabbi Dubin was saying, to contemplate on a sukkah, to dwell on a sukkah, to dwell at home, away from home. It invites us to think about home and to think about all those who cannot be home since last year, and I'm talking about tens of thousands of Israelis, both from the north and from the east, and also about the innocent people across the border who also cannot be at home. And I think this is an interesting time to think about what home means. And it's a question, why precisely Sukkot, of all the festivals, invites us to leave the comforts of our home, to leave everything that we own, all our commodities, and go out and be in a very fragile, temporary construction that is called sukkah or booth or hut or tabernacle for an entire week. Now, I'll tell you the truth. I don't sleep in a sukkah normally. We build a sukkah. I try to be there as much as I can during the Chag. But even if I don't sleep in a sukkah, or even if you don't have a sukkah at home, this is a beautiful one here, this festival invites us to think about what is permanent and what is temporary in our lives. And it invites us to think about temporality, what is temporary in our lives. And I think that it does so precisely on Sukkot, because on that festival, the ancient Israelites, who were farmers, they just finished to gather their harvest, the fruits, their crops, their goods. Their barns are full. Now they can sit at home by the fire, they can enjoy a more relaxing time and be at home. And now the tradition is telling them, get out of your home and be away from home for a whole week. And being away from home, you have to invite the guests. You have to have hachnasat orchim, hospitality of people who maybe you don't know. We have to open our gates to the stranger. And I want to contemplate on 3 different reasons for that. One has to do with time, one has to do with space, and one has to do with community. So in the handouts that you have, you can see the very short citation from Maimonides, from Rambam, from his Moreh Nevuchim, Guide to the Perplexed. And he explains the duty or the commandment to dwell in a sukkah in that time of the year. A person should always recall the bad days during good days. So precisely when your barns are full and you think you got it right, now you can relax, now you don't need to work so hard, you have to remember that things can go wrong, and you have to meditate on it by going to the sukkah. Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan, the founder of Reconstructionist Judaism, who worked at the JTS, not so far away from here, gave a different explanation, almost opposite explanation. He says that Sukkot invites us to experience nature, to go back to the wilderness, to go back to nature. And he says, I'm reading 3 lines before the end of this citation, it too was a call for self-emancipation from the artificialities and injustices of current civilization. And like the latter, it assumes the character of a yearning for an idealized past, when we can really go back to a more primordial state of our being, when we're not so dependent on our commodities, on our properties. That's what Mordechai Kaplan suggests. And the third explanation, so we had an explanation of Maimonides based on time, Mordechai Kaplan based on space, and the third one has to do with Kehillah. Sukkot invites us to be responsible for each other, responsible for and be committed and engaged with other people, and making sure they have where to be, and making sure they can celebrate the Chag, and they can feel at home wherever they are. And when I think about these 3 things in the contemporary situation, well, yes, this has not been a good year in the place where I come from, in Israel. I think it was not an easy year for you too in North America. You, as far as I understand, as far as I hear from my dear friends here, were exposed to anti-Semitism in ways that we thought belongs to a past. We thought we're beyond that. We thought this is not part of our lives anymore. We thought we're through with this kind of cruel anti-Semitic attitudes toward the Jews. And little did we know. And the same with Israel. We thought we're protected within our walls, within our borders, and little did we know. So Sukkot invites us to contemplate on that and to show our commitment to repair that. That's with regard to the first explanation. The second explanation about being in nature, being outdoors, that's a wonderful thing when you choose it. But when it's forced upon you, that's a different thing. And there's no day that I don't contemplate more and more times during the day about those people who are in the tunnels, who do not see the light of day, who do not merit to see the sun, who knows what is their state of health, physical health, mental health. And may we see them very, very swiftly. So this is about the second explanation. And with regard to the third explanation, the community, and this is something that I want to say to you, my dear brothers and sisters here in America. I want to thank you all. I literally and simply want to thank you for being there with us during this very difficult and demanding and challenging time. You showed your friendship, you showed your allies. I know that Israeli Jews were not always kind enough to, especially the official leadership that we have, is not necessarily always kind enough and does justice to our brothers and sisters in the world communities and especially in this country. But you showed your support, you showed your friendship, and you showed that we're really linked together in ways that we did not imagine. And I think the people in Israel really thank you for that. And it really shows us that we're on the same boat in so many ways. So that's about the third explanation that has to do with kehillah, with the community, with mutual responsibility between people. I want to read to you a short poem by Ruti Sabat. It was published just a few days ago. I translated it. It's not an official translation, but I did my best. And she calls it Vayehi ב7 באוקטובר. ויאמר הצבא, קחו את הילדים ואת הכלב, קצת בגדים ותרופות. לכו לכם מבתיכם ומקיבוצכם אשר אהבתם, עד אשר יש מלון, בריכה, אוכל, בידור, טלוויזיה שעדיף לכבות, יש תרומות, הבית רחוק. And the army said, take your kids and the dog, some clothes and some medicine. You see, do you hear the calling to Abraham? Lech lecha, go forth. It's very similar, the language. Go forth from your homes and from the kibbutz that you loved until there is a hotel, pool, food, entertainment, TV set that is better turned off. There are donations. Home is far away. So that helps me to think about what does it mean to be at home. All these people who are in these hotels, they have really nice swimming pools and, good food, whatever, but they're not at home. They want the pasta and salad they used to have every night at home. And a second poem that I want to share with you that was also published a few days ago, עכשיו צריך לבדוק. במלון המפונים בים המלח, היא אוספת יפה יפה את שיער הבובה בסרט. קושרת ממנקה מקטרות מנצנץ על הסרט. ואז שואלת, תגידי, אני חיה? ואיך יודעים שאני מתה? מה הייתם עונים לילדה בת 4? רק מי שיכול להתחבק. בואי נתחבק ונראה אם אנחנו בחיים. אחר כך היא אומרת, גם מחר נבדוק. In the hotel of the displaced at the Dead Sea, she collects beautifully the doll hair with a ribbon, binding it with a sparkling pipe cleaner on a ribbon. Then she asks, tell me, am I alive? And does one know when I'm dead? What would you answer a 4-year-old girl? Only those who are alive can hug. Come, let's hug and see if we're alive. Then she says, tomorrow morning, we'll check again. So Sukkot invites us to explore our fragility in the world, our uncertainty, to think about everything that we take for granted, and maybe we shouldn't. And I think this year showed us that really there are so many things that we should not take for granted, so many things that we thought are really part of who we are and what we are, and we actually we woke up to find out that they are not. And this is something that I learned. This is something that I take from this Sukkot this year. And there's another thing. If I think about the symbol of peace and shelter and being guarded and being protected by God, our tradition does not talk about a castle, about a construction with guards, about metal and stone construction. It talks about a sukkah, sukkah shalom, a tabernacle, a sukkah, a booth of peace. This is the symbol of protection in our culture. A very temporary, very fragile construction that is very easy to enter and to penetrate. The walls are not strong. It's typically made of cloth or very discardable material, and its roof is visible. It's not very close, and our tradition tells us this is really the symbol of peace. This is really the symbol of being protected, looked after. And may it be so that soon enough we will not need wars and weapons to feel protected, to feel guarded, to feel that we are looked after. And I want to conclude with two things. One of them is the prayer of Achenu v'Achiotenu, our brothers and sisters. Rabbi Davidson said a few minutes ago that I was the chief editor of the Israeli Reform Siddur. It's called Tfilat Ha'adam. When we edited the Siddur, we did not include this prayer because we thought, I don't know who needs it. Who are the Jews who are in state of danger and fear? We did not include it. And then, exactly after September 11, I started get frantic calls. Can it be that we did not include this prayer in our Siddur? Can we include it? So I quickly made little stickers and we glued them. We put them in all the Siddurim. Because again, that symbolizes maybe our oblivions of the danger that was in front of us. So, Achenu v'Achiotenu kol bet Israel, hanetуnim b'tzara u'v'shivya, our brothers and sisters, the entire house of Israel, who are in trouble and in captivity, whether at sea or on dry land, may the makom, may God have mercy on them and bring them out of trouble to salvation, from darkness to light, and from captivity to redemption, now, swiftly, and in our time. And let us say, Amen. How much healing, how much repair, how much mending, how much tikkun do we need? And I want to conclude with the concept of sukkah, of Sukkot Shalom, which is really the place where we all should feel gathered and protected. In a way, God is depicted as a big mother, and the sukkah is its womb, and we're all in this very protected and warm womb, which is the Sukkot Shalom of God. Ufros alenu, we say in the blessing of Hashkivenu in the evenings after the recitation of the Shema. Ufros alenu Sukkot Shlomecha, Baruch ata Adonai, hapores Sukkot Shalom alenu, ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Spread over us your sukkah, your tabernacle of peace. Blessed are you, eternal, whose shelter, or sukkah of peace, is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem, and I will end over the entire world. And may this time be the time of our joy, Zman Simchatenu, and may the next year bring good news to all of us here and there. May it be a much, much better good year. Sukkot Sameach, Shabbat Shalom, and thank you very much.